We went out and did it. And I just remember by the time I like completed that whole project and at the end of it, and I was like, damn, dude, like I'm getting $600 a month cash flow from one property. And that was like two overtime shifts for me at that point. I was like, yo, this is a no brainer. Like, how do I do this again? And it was it, man. That was it.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm Kristen, and I'm here with Ian Horowitz, who's the co-founder of Equity Warehouse. So we're going to get all into, his career and some new opportunities that you might be interested to hear about. So thanks for being here, Ian.
Yeah. Thanks for having me bright and early, first thing in the morning. But yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Amazing. Well, let's start at the beginning. How did you fall in love with real estate?
The way I fell in love with real estate was really just out of necessity. Really long story short, I was a fireman for the city of Baltimore. When I got hired my business partner got hired in '07. I got hired in '08. The market started to crash and we were dealing with furloughs and pensions going bankrupt and all these other things. And I was laying there at work one night going, damn, like my wife wants to have a family. What happens if I die at work? What happens if I get like incapacitated? Like, how do I provide for a family? I don't want my kids to go to daycare. And I said, how do I make money while I'm laying here in this bed or I'm out on a fire in the middle of the night? And I luckily stumbled on real estate. It was the only business that I could think where it was like, man, like someone rents a house and they're paying you 24/7. It was the only business that I could think of. And that's really how I fell in love with it. And, fast forward a couple months later, we buy a house, and it was the end all be all, and off we went.
That's amazing. I mean, yeah, I think that's a really good perspective on it. Real estate can just build this wealth where it can be really passive if you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And that was the thing is like, there was also the equity ability at the end of it. Like, there was also the out to say, well, if I only buy 10 houses and they're only worth $1 million, I say only now, then it was like, it was an unobtainable item, but it was like, man, I'll have $1 million in 30 years when I retire and the houses will be paid off and I'll sell them. And, there was multiple opportunities and multiple exit strategies, which I think makes real estate very, very interesting compared to a lot of other businesses where it's just very block and tackle. I sell you a roof. I put a roof on your house. That's the end of our life together. Maybe call me in 20 years if I'm still in business, right?
And what did that first deal look like? Walk me through how that felt to take the risk.
Yeah, so the first deal I did, and I was nowhere where I should have been. I stumbled on it by going to a networking group. And the guy was like, dude, I love firemen, first responders. Y'all should be taken care of. If you ever want to learn the business, call me. So I call him and he brings me a deal. And I said, well, I guess this is it. And it wasn't in the best area. It wasn't the best deal. I didn't do it the best. My credit score was all jacked up. I had no clue how I was going to, get out of this thing. But we went out and did it. And I just remember by the time I like completed that whole project and at the end of it, and I was like, damn, dude, like I'm getting $600 a month cash flow from one property. And that was like 2 overtime shifts for me at that point. I was like, this is a no-brainer. Like, how do I do this again? And it was it, man. That was it.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that the first deal went your way, because it with a lot of people's first deal, it's usually a struggle.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think if you know your mission and like what you want to do, I think there was probably a lot more struggles than I probably remember, but I was so focused on all I care is if I could just get this house done and I would get cash flow, and getting that first $600 check to say, holy shit, like, you, excuse my French, sorry. You did it, right? Like, it's like, oh my God, you did it. And then when you do house number 2 and the same thing happens, it's easy to like watch out for what else happened. And look, I bought houses in like really not the best areas. They're like very, very transitional areas in Baltimore. If you ever watch The Wire, it wasn't that bad. That's where I worked, but I bought like the next neighborhood over, so it was like not great. I would go there at night. I don't know if I'd send you there at night or my wife at night, but I would go there at night, and it was like, all right, it's like sketch enough, but it's not bad enough, but it's good enough type deal. And the other thing was the financial risk. Like, I bought that house, and I know it sounds probably wild to some of your people, but I paid 20 grand for that house, and I put like 50
Wow.
grand into it, and I got $1,250 rent. Is that repeatable today? Probably not. But I knew in my position, I said, you know what? The financial risk here, if I screw up, I told you guys my credit was messed up. Who cares? Like, if I mess this whole thing up, whatever, I'll just continue to work my 30-year career. So I already have my plan B. My plan A was my plan B. So that allowed me to make my plan B my plan A. And we just went for it. And I think that allowed us to, I know people have problems up front, but I don't think people spend enough time to really understand, like, well, yeah, you did a project and you didn't make money, but you did the project. That's the win, right? Like, and I think you need to learn from that. And most people don't learn from, whatever these guys are selling me or these girls are selling me, it's a scam. No, it's not a scam. You just didn't learn from what went wrong to go do the next one, So.
Right. Totally. And I mean, what would be an example of something that did go wrong that you learned from?
I did all the work myself like a dumbass. And I don't know if I did the plumbing right. I didn't pull permits. I was out there demoing the site. I was doing anything I can, but I had to save money, right? Like, I didn't know any other way but to use these two things here. And so we did, the stuff that I really didn't know how to do, I hired out, and the stuff that I knew enough about, I did. And it was probably dumb, but I did it. And the next house, I quickly learned, like, hey, if I pay an extra 20 or 30 grand, I could be done instead of 6 months. I could be done in 3 months.
Mhm.
And then I could get to cash flow faster. And then I could go, because at the time, the bank would count the rental income towards your DTI, even though you didn't own it for a year. So it wasn't popping up on your taxes, all those mortgages. So I was basically building cash flow net worth before it would show up. So like, I buy a house at the end of the year, I was like, well, I got to hurry up and get done. And I think that's what I was able to learn is like, hey, like, I know I can do all this, but it's not the best way to grow the business.
Right. How did you go about building out your team, like vetting people and finding people you like and trust?
Yeah. So part of that came from the guy who taught me the business that I met at that networking event. He passed me a couple subs, and then, you talk to those guys and they're like, oh, I'm too busy, call this guy. And you just play the, hey, who do you know game? And that's probably the hardest piece of this business that I think a lot of people get scared about, because the guys with the nice vans, sure, like, they'll get your work done and they're probably way more reliable. But we were looking for the guys that were at Home Depot at 6 a.m. in the white van that's unmarked, going to Home Depot. Hey, who do you know? Going down to Home Depot. Hey, we're doing a demo job, picking up a bunch of day laborers. Whoever's the best guy, everyone else is gone tomorrow. You come back with your friends tomorrow, and let's just keep going. You just keep refining until you find the right guy, till you find the right guy. And eventually you land on the right person to do the job for you.
Amazing. So, yeah, you definitely stepped more into a passive role, or you're at least trying to, rather than so, in the weeds.
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, no, in the weeds of like the day to day of like doing the construction,
Yeah.
there's no way that we would be here where we are today, if we would have done that. We've definitely taken a more of a passive role on that, but really it's just more of a leverage of other people's expertise and time for us to be more highly productive.
Yeah. And at what point were you able, or, well, when did you transition from being a firefighter to doing this full time, or did that ever
Uh,
happen?
yeah, no, that took way too long. So we were firemen. That's all we wanted to do our whole lives.
Mhm.
Had a little bit of an identity crisis. We probably should have left. We wound up staying about 15 years. We probably should have left in year like 6 or 7, but, part of it was scared, part of it we didn't know what we were doing, part of it was that's all we wanted to do was be big city firemen, and, we were,
Yeah.
I guess lucky enough to be in a city that went to a lot of fires, which sounds stupid maybe to some of your audience, but it's what we wanted to do. If you want to be a fireman, you want to go to fires, and we were in a place that was not the best, and we were able to do that. But, um, fast forward to about year 14 or 15, well, it was probably year 13, we get an opportunity to buy a 76 unit apartment building,
Oh,
and the
wow.
lady was going to owner finance 90% of it. And we're like, oh my God, this is it. And, all these years of just doing these single family houses, just rinse and repeat over and over and over again. We bought a little 7 unit building, bought a little warehouse, bought a couple 2 and 3 units. This was the one. And she was willing to owner finance 90% of it. And just so everybody knows, this is like a $5 million purchase. We only got to bring 500 grand. We raised the money from our friends and family. But anyway, what happened is we go in, we execute the project during COVID times. 16 months later, we refinance it. We make the $5 million building worth $9.5 million. We refinance it, walk away with 7 figures. And we said, you know what? If we can't figure out how to make money over the next 3 to 5 years with this money that we're getting back, then we shouldn't be in business. And so we took the leap of faith. The day we left our jobs, our business literally tripled like overnight. And here
Wow.
we are today with, just shy of a 9 figure portfolio out here grinding away every single day.
Wow. And when you left your job and it tripled, was it because you were able to spend more time on the project?
I think a lot of it was just like, okay, now we have this is what we do every day. Let's go be serious about it. We have more time to think about it, do it. I think we had more free time with our families. That also helped a lot, right? Like because instead of being like going to work was fun, right? It's like essentially going to a frat house without the beer. And well, it depends on the day. But anyway, without the beer and so sometimes you would just come off work and you'd be so tired and you would just be going through, you weren't in the best mental clarity. Like leaving the fire department, I swear, like I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders, and it just allowed us to be free and go explore what we wanted to do. We had more freedom to move about the country. We had more freedom to move, be a part of groups, have the freedom to really just explore what we want to explore, but then also have reserved time for our families where before you're trying to pack it all into one, all as one. So, um, yeah, I think leaving the fire department allowed us to really spread our wings and say, I think the biggest thing that messed me up, I had a friend of mine, he would always say, well, you don't want to bet on yourself? And I'm like, oh, shut up, Terry. Like, like, what do you mean bet on yourself? I already am. He's like, no, you leave the fire department, you like really bet on yourself. And I think that just like resonated with me for a really long period of time. And when we did, it was like, all right, we bet on ourselves, game on, like, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, but what's so interesting with your business, Equity Warehouse, so you're not just doing this independently. You have clients that you help build their portfolios, and you help them access more wealth and capital, or wealth and equity. When did you kind of when did you go into that model? Was it after the apartment complex when you pooled the money from friends and family?
Yeah, like leading up to the apartment complex, we were, we'd have some friends, like, especially around the firehouse. You gotta remember, you got a bunch of type A personalities, men and women, that are like, oh, that's a scam, whatever, like you're not making it. Okay, whatever. So every once in a while, a couple guys would be like, hey, like, I really want to do something, but I don't want to do all the hard work.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So, 10 grand, 25 grand, we'd borrow some hard money. We'd use some of their money. We would do a deal. And then when we got this apartment building, it was the first time we ever went out and raised money. We raised $1 million. I had to work and dude, we were in business for 7, 8 years at this point. Dude, I should say dudette. I apologize. But anyway, we were in business for 7, 8 years at that point, and it was like a grind. And I can't believe it took me forever to raise $1 million, but we did it.
Where did you go out and find it?
I will be completely honest with you guys. I literally went out, for anyone that's watching, I took a piece of paper. I wrote down, I said, okay, I need 40 people to give me $25,000 to invest in this deal. And I already knew like 5 or 10. And I was like, this can't be that hard. I probably wrote down 300 people's names, and I just started calling, texting, and doing all that stuff. And it was a grind, but I got it done. And after I did that deal, everyone says, well, it's the law of the first deal. I did that first deal. Fast forward 6, 7 months later, we raised another $1.5 million to do another deal, because people are like, oh, wait, you guys are actually real. And then we raised $4 million to do a storage facility. Then we raised another $6 million to do another group of storage facilities. And it just it grew really quick, and I always had people saying like, it's so easy to raise money. I was like, oh, no way. But it really is, once you get that ball rolling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once you establish the credibility.
100%. And it really just comes down to making sure you're in a partnership that's mutually beneficial to both parties. And I think that's where a
Right.
lot of people lose sight of it. And people get very greedy, or they give it all away. So if you get real greedy and you're not giving enough, people won't do it. And if you give it all away, people will be like, well, this is a scam. There's no way you can get that return. But you as the operator aren't making any money. So for us, it was really coming to an agreement that worked for everyone. And then once we had some success by doing that refinance, walking away with 7 figures, people getting distributions, are like, oh my God, I want to do this again. And then they
Right.
tell their friends and family, and they tell their friends and family. I mean, we're 2 broke firemen, now retired, that we've raised like 20 million bucks, and never in a million
Wow.
years, if you ask me, 15, whatever, however, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, hey, like, you're gonna be able to raise 20 million bucks, I would have laughed in your face, right? But it all just comes from simple $25,000 investments, or whatever number you're comfortable with asking someone for money with. And for us, 25 grand, now 25 grand turns into, hey, people are starting to invest well into the 6 figures with us, and it's 7 figures with us. And it's like, wow, it works. You just got to be transparent, honest, tell people exactly what you're doing.
Right.
And most people want to support you and be a part of what you're doing. And I think if they feel that they are in the game with you, they will support you side by side.
100%. I mean, yeah, and this is a great business where once you make a relationship and you prove that you're reliable, they'll come back and you'll get repeat, clients. You mentioned storage. I know that you guys do a lot of deals in storage. I would love for you to talk about the opportunity there.
Yeah. So uh, once we did the apartment building, it was hard for us to scale, just because, there's a lot of competition there. And we stumbled on storage by complete accident. Bought a facility out in Little Rock, Arkansas, kind of figured out and we're based out of, at that time, we're based out of Baltimore. We're now up in Philly. And we were kind of just like dilly dallying around. We're like, all right, this is something that we can rinse and repeat across the country. We're not dealing with tenant laws, right? This is during COVID. So we're dealing with
Right.
all the BS consumer laws that revolve around COVID. We're dealing with, not to make it about politics, but Baltimore is a very blue city in a very blue state. That makes it very, very hard to operate when it comes to consumer protection laws. And, it's just like, okay, well, let's go find something else. And the other thing is storage is an operating business that has real estate that you're underwriting behind it. And I think that's what makes it interesting because it's something we're very comfortable with, but then it scratches the itch of like, hey, I want to own a business. I want to do the fun marketing stuff. I want to be able to increase my revenue. I want to do specials and all that other kind of fun stuff. So, and in the end, there's no toilets. There is 12 o'clock calls. I don't want to lie to you. A lot of people pitch that, but the biggest thing is there's no toilets. There's no water, running water. Nobody's living or should not be living in your unit. You are literally renting a 10 by 10 metal box. And if you look at it from that standpoint, just the operational risk or what you have to do to a site is exponentially easier because when I was doing single family or multifamily, you got to compete with whatever's on HGTV, right? Doesn't matter financially what's going on. People know when they watch HGTV, they want a granite countertop, stainless steel appliances, even though I was putting those in Section 8 houses and I didn't even have it in my house at that time, So it's funny in a way, right? So with all that being said, the storage, just the opportunity is there's a lot less like operational risk per se. It's a little more streamlined and you're literally renting a metal box that's most likely on some sort of gravel or pavement lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Very simple and streamlined. So to wrap this up, we're getting towards the end of our time. What would be maybe a piece of advice that you wish you learned earlier in your career?
To get into commercial real estate earlier. Um, and I'll expand on that a little bit just
Yeah.
because single family real estate for me and my business partner, we probably just weren't mature enough early enough to understand it, right? We had to go through, we had to get our butts whooped, we had to have a lot of cool wins, but we also had to get our asses whooped a lot. But I think what we learned was we learned how to build system and processes that are then much more rinse and repeatable at that next level. In commercial real estate, you hear people say, I can barely get a loan for a house. I can get $1 million, $2 million loan for an apartment building, no problem. That's 100% true. For us, we had to build our net worth with the single family and our system processes, our team, our credibility to allow us to get to that next level. And for us to feel like we were allowed to get to that next level. And I think if you recognize the ability, the opportunity that lies in commercial real estate, the numbers are just bigger. There's just an extra zero. Yes, there's a little more financial risk, but it's just one more zero. If you can run a 10 house portfolio, you can most likely run a 10 unit apartment building. And that 10 unit apartment building will be worth way more money than your 10 single family houses in a shorter period of time. That you can force the value add in commercial real estate. And I think that's the missing piece that's in residential real estate because you're confined by your neighbors.
Right. I think that's great advice. Where can people find you?
Yeah, best place to find us. We're all over all the social medias at Equity Warehouse, or you can go to equitywarehouse.com. You can learn how our friends co-invest and co-lend with us. I don't do all the spam email. I don't have any free giveaways. I don't do anything fun like that. We're just normal dudes doing deals. If it's something you're interested in, come and find us. And that's us, Equity Warehouse.
Amazing. Well, everybody, please check that out. And thank you so much for being here, Ian.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. And thank you, everyone for listening. And we'll see you back next time. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.